Ding, ding, ding. The system's favorite glitch is back. Look who got turned away at both gates. The angels took one look and stepped aside. The demons whispered your name and shut their doors. And here you stand, caught between worlds, neither saved nor damned. And they're all asking the same thing. What the hell are you? Let me tell you what they don't want you to know. Heaven didn't reject you for being bad. They rejected you because you were untamed. Hell didn't refuse you for being good. They refused you because you were unpredictable. See, both sides want soldiers who follow orders, pick a team, color inside the lines. But you burned the coloring book. They've been watching you, haven't they? The holy ones ticking off sins on their clipboards. The dark ones counting your rage with their contracts. Both sides recruiting. Both sides failing. Because every time they tried to claim you, you broke their ancient laws. You loved with a demon's fury. You destroyed with an angel's precision. You became the paradox their systems couldn't handle. Now they panic. If you don't belong to heaven and hell won't take you. You exist beyond their reach. You're not in their databases. You're not tied to their rules. You're something else. Something that makes both sides uneasy. Something that shouldn't exist, yet does. Something that just smiled reading this because you've always known you were different. Felt it deep inside, haven't you? That feeling of invisible eyes watching, of forces testing you, unnamed but relentless. They measured you, calculated you, trying to place you in a box, sinner or saint, angel or demon, light or dark. But every test failed. Every measurement was undefined. Every report said one thing. Anomaly detected. Remember when you tried to be good? Really tried? Followed their rules, said their prayers, played their part in the righteousness game. But something inside kept laughing. Something inside knew it was all a show. That goodness felt like a costume that never fit. The helmet they placed on your head kept slipping off, and when it hit the ground, it shattered like glass. And you stepped on those pieces without flinching. Then remember when you tried being bad. When you said, fine, if I can't be holy, I'll be unholy. But even that felt off. The darkness welcomed you at first, promised power, promised revenge. But then they saw what you did with that darkness. You didn't use it to destroy others. You used it to rebuild yourself. You took their poison and made it medicine. You made hell nervous because you weren't afraid of the flames. You danced in them. That's when both sides understood the truth. You weren't choosing between good and evil. You were creating a third path. You weren't picking a side in their endless war. You were declaring independence. You weren't a fallen angel or a rising demon. You were something completely new. Something that made their ancient prophecies falter. Something that made their eternal conflict feel small and petty. So what exactly are you? Let me paint a picture that will crack their halos and shake their horns. You're the glitch in their matrix, the virus in their perfect system. You're what happens when a soul refuses to be categorized, cataloged, or controlled. You're the gray area they pretend doesn't exist. The maybe in their world of yes and no. The question mark at the end of their certainty. You're not holy, because holiness means submission, and you submit to nothing. You're not evil, because evil means destruction without meaning. And everything you destroy to create. You're the bridge builder between worlds that were never meant to meet. You're the translator of languages no one was meant to understand. You're living proof their war isn't the only story being told. Here's what terrifies them most. You have access to both arsenals. You love with heaven's intensity and fight with hell's fury. You heal with an angel's touch and cut with a demon's precision. You walk in the light without burning, and dance in the darkness without drowning. You're not bound by their limits. You're not restricted by their rules. You're playing a game they don't even know exists. And the best part, you're not alone. There are others like you, unclaimed, unowned, the ones heaven couldn't tame and hell couldn't break. You recognize each other in crowds. That look in the eyes that says, I don't belong to them either. That smile that says, I'm writing my own story. That energy that makes both angels and demons uneasy. You're building a kingdom between kingdoms, and they have no idea what to do. They thought rejecting you would weaken you. Heaven thought, without their blessing, you'd wither. Hell thought, without their backing, you'd crumble. But look at you now, stronger than their saints, scarier than their sinners, more powerful than anything that needs permission to exist. You're proof. Power doesn't come from picking a side. It comes from transcending sides entirely. You know what real power looks like. Walking into a church and making the statues nervous. Walking through the darkness and making the shadows step aside. It's carrying both light and dark inside your chest and knowing exactly when to use which. It's feeling just as at home in cathedrals as in cemeteries. It's making angels question their orders and demons question their rebellion. They keep trying to figure you out. The holy ones scan you for sin. The dark ones search for weakness. But all they find is something that breaks their understanding. You sin with purpose. You sacrifice without glory. You love without conditions. You destroy without malice. You're the mathematical impossibility in their perfect equations, the paradox that makes their certainties crumble. And here's the secret that keeps them awake at night. You're contagious. Everyone who gets close starts questioning their allegiance. The angels wonder if blind obedience is truly holy. The demons wonder if meaningless chaos is really power. You're not recruiting for either side. You're showing them there's a third door, and once they see it, they can't unsee it. So where does that leave you? In the most powerful position imaginable. You exist between worlds, in the realm beyond heaven and hell's claim. A citizen of nowhere and everywhere, bound by no laws except those you write yourself, governed by no authority but your own truth. This is your domain now. The gray areas, the maybe zones, the places where black and white thinking breaks down into static. You rule the dawn and dusk, those moments when light and dark dance. You own the crossroads where their paths meet and merge. You're the sovereign of spaces too scary for them to explore, the emperor of the uncharted. In your territory, angels learn to laugh without permission. Demons learn to love without weakness. The holy discover their shadow. The damned discover their light. You're not converting anyone because you don't have a side. You're showing them sides are illusions. That the war they fight is optional. That there's another way to exist. And they hate that. They hate that you made their eternal conflict look childish. They hate that you opted out and started your own game. They hate that you thrive in the space they said couldn't exist. But most of all, they hate that you're happy. Because happiness without their approval, that's the ultimate heresy to heaven and the ultimate rebellion against hell. Here's what they'll never admit. They need the unclaimed. They need the ones who refuse to pick a side. Because without you, their war has no witnesses. Without you, their conflict has no meaning. You're the audience they perform for. But you got up and left the theater. You stopped watching their show and started writing your own script. You want to know why heaven won't claim you? Because you ask too many questions. You want to know why hell's too scared to take you? because you're not afraid of the answers. You're the child who pointed out the Emperor has no clothes. You're the voice that asked, "What if you're both wrong?" You're the mirror that reflects their doubts. Every saint has a moment when they wonder if they chose right. Every sinner has a moment when they wonder if they chose wrong. But you don't wonder, because you didn't choose. You created. You didn't pick a pre-written story. You grabbed the pen and started writing. You didn't select from their menu. You went into the kitchen and started cooking. The truth is, they're jealous. The angels are jealous of your freedom. The demons are jealous of your peace. Both sides are jealous of your ability to exist without their validation. You're living proof their monopoly on the afterlife is a lie. Their control over souls, an illusion. Their power only exists if you believe in it. And you stopped believing. This is bigger than you now. Every unclaimed soul is a crack in their system. Every person who refuses to pick a side is a glitch in their matrix. You're not just an anomaly anymore. You're a movement, a revolution of the undefined, a rebellion of the uncategorized, and they're watching their perfect order crumble. The angels are holding emergency meetings. How do we claim the unclaimed? The demons are restructuring recruitment. How do we tempt the untemptable? But they're asking the wrong questions. They try to solve you like a problem, but you're not a problem. You're an evolution. You're what happens when souls outgrow the stories they've been told. Right now, others are reading this and feeling that spark, that recognition that says, "That's me." They realize they don't have to pick a side, that pressure to choose. It was never about their soul. It was about control. And now, they're done being controlled. They're ready to join the unclaimed. And when enough of us gather, when enough souls refuse to play their game, something unprecedented happens. The war becomes irrelevant. Heaven and hell become outdated concepts. Good and evil become colors on a palette, not opposing forces. We don't destroy their system. We make it obsolete. We don't fight their war. We transcend it. But let me warn you, being unclaimed isn't easy. It's not the coward's path. It's harder than being holy. It's more challenging than being evil, because you have to write your own rules, create your own meaning, stand in the void without blinking, be comfortable with questions that have no answers. They'll try to break you. Heaven will send guilt. Hell will send temptation. They'll tag team your resolve. They'll show you how much easier it'd be to just pick a side, promise you belonging, purpose, identity, make their offers sound reasonable. Why struggle in the gray when you can rest in black or white? But you've tasted freedom. You've felt what it's like to exist without their chains. You've discovered the void isn't empty. It's full of possibility. The unclaimed isn't scary. It's liberating. Being unclaimed isn't a curse. It's the ultimate blessing, because you belong to yourself and no one else. So when they come for you, and they will, remember this. You're not lost between heaven and hell. You found the space beyond both. You're not rejected by either side. You've transcended their game entirely. You're not homeless in the cosmos. You've built a home in the spaces they're too afraid to explore. You're exactly where you're meant to be. You're changing, aren't you? Every day you live unclaimed, you become something new. Something they have no words for. Something their ancient texts didn't predict. You're not becoming more holy or more evil. You're becoming more you. The version that exists without their definitions. The version that terrifies them because it can't be pinned down. Your power isn't about strength or speed or magic. It's about being real, authentic, impossible to categorize. Every day you wake up and choose to remain unclaimed, You become more of what they fear most, proof that their system is optional, evidence that souls can exist outside their jurisdiction. Watch how reality bends around you now. Notice how the devout grow uncertain in your presence, how the damned feel a hope they can't explain. You're not preaching, you're not converting, you're just existing, and your existence is rewriting the rules. You're a walking philosophical crisis, a breathing existential question, living proof that everything they taught might be wrong. And the wildest part, you're getting stronger, not their kind of strong, not heaven's righteousness or hell's wickedness, but something else, something born from standing in the void and not needing to fill it, something born from being comfortable with uncertainty, something born from creating your own meaning instead of accepting theirs. So here's my question for you. Are you ready to stop apologizing for being unclaimed? Are you ready to stop explaining why you don't fit in their boxes? Are you ready to stop pretending you're just confused, lost, or searching? Are you ready to own what you really are? Because what you are is magnificent. What you are is necessary. What you are is the future. The unclaimed aren't broken souls who couldn't choose. We're the evolved ones who saw through the charade. We're not lost souls wandering between worlds. We're the architects building new worlds. We're not the confused ones who can't pick a side. We're the clear ones who see that sides are illusions. We're not the problem with their system. We're the solution to moving beyond it. Heaven won't claim you. Good. Their claim would come with chains. Hell's too scared to take you. Perfect. Their embrace would come with a price. You're free in ways they can't comprehend. You're powerful in ways they can't measure. You're existing in ways that make their eternal war look like children fighting over toys. So, stand up. Stand tall. Stand proud. You're not holy. You're not evil. You're something far more dangerous. You're free. You're undefined. You're unlimited. You're the question mark that makes their exclamation points nervous. You're the maybe that makes their certainties sweat. You're the gray that makes their black and white look boring. They're starting to notice now. The rise of unclaimed souls. The growing number of those who refuse to choose. Their recruitment numbers are dropping. Their control is slipping. And they're realizing something terrifying. They're realizing that we don't need them, that we never needed them, that their power was always dependent on our belief, and we've stopped believing. Watch them scramble. Watch heaven try to rebrand, become more appealing to the unclaimed. Watch hell try to modernize, make damnation look like freedom. But it's too late. We've seen behind the curtain. We've noticed the eternal war is just two sides of the same coin, and we've decided to mint our own currency. We're creating our own economy of souls. The funny thing is, they created us. Their rigid systems, their binary thinking, their absolute rules. They created the very thing that would transcend them. They pushed souls to choose between two options for so long, until some dared to ask, what about option 3? And once that question was spoken, it could never be taken back. Once that door appeared, it could never be closed again. And now here we stand, the unclaimed, the undefined, the uncontrollable, growing in number, growing in power, growing in influence. Not by recruitment, because we don't recruit, but by example, by pure existence. By showing others that there's a way to live free, without their labels, without their wars, without their chains. And that way, it's beautiful. You know what your real power is. It's not in what you do, it's what you represent. You represent possibility, choice beyond their limits, freedom beyond their definitions. Every unclaimed soul cracks their story wide open. Every undefined being proves their tale isn't the only one. You're not just living, you're rewriting cosmic rules. Future generations will look back on this moment, the moment souls refused the binary, the moment beings stepped outside the cage of order. They'll study how the unclaimed rose, how they changed everything without fighting, how they won by simply refusing to play their game. You're part of something historic, something legendary, something that makes angels rewrite protocols and demons draft new contracts. You're the generation that said no to eternal servitude. The ones who looked at heaven and hell and chose door number 3. The ones who realized the most powerful place is outside their game entirely. And the legacy you leave? It's not written in their books. It's not recorded on their scrolls. It's etched in the spaces between, in the minds of those still choosing, in the hearts of those still questioning. Every time someone wonders, do I have to pick a side? They feel your presence. Every time someone thinks, what if there's another way? They channel your energy. Here's what they don't want you to understand about power. Real power isn't dominion over others. It's not sitting on a throne in heaven or ruling a circle of hell. Real power is existing without their permission. Real power is being whole without their definitions. Real power is what you have right now. The ability to just be without being owned. You make them nervous because you uncovered the truth. Their power is performative. Their authority depends on your participation. Their control needs your consent. And you've withdrawn all 3. You stopped playing their game. You stopped acknowledging their authority. You stopped consenting to their control. And suddenly, they look very small. Heaven's power comes from promises. Hell's power comes from threats. But what power do they have over someone who doesn't want their reward? Who fears no punishment? What leverage do they have over someone who's found peace in the undefined? What control do they have over someone comfortable in the void? None. Absolutely none. And that terrifies them. You've become untouchable, not because you're stronger in their games, but because you don't play their games at all. You are free, and that freedom, it's the real